Which of those four is it when you talked to him about murdering Tupac?
It was really about both of them. Either one of them. It was
Tupac and Suge, you mean?
Yeah.
Maybe I said it to my boyfriend because he got Tupac killed.
The press reported former LAPD cop claims Diddy had Tupac deal with for $1 million. Suge, in case you missed it, responded by having Biggie dealt with after Diddy paid Keffe D to get Tupac after 15 years of evasion. When the police eventually managed to apprehend Keffe D, he confessed during an interview that he was unaware he was being videotaped.
All four of those occasions are San Diego, Anaheim, Irvine, and Vegas. Which ones do you actually talk to Puffy at?
Every one of them.
Every one of them. Which of those four is it when you talk to him about murdering Tupac?
It was really about both of them. Either one of them. It was
Tupac and Suge, you mean?
Yeah.
Since Diddy was questioned about his role throughout the trial, the news said Diddy confronts questions regarding his claimed involvement in Tupac's death after being brought up 77 times in a recent court document in which the crimes hired. Hitman Keffe D said that everything was Diddy's desire. He went on to say that Tupac's grasping for his gun upon his death was the reason it happened so quickly.
You said that as you're driving up towards the BMW, with Suge driving and Tupac in the passenger seat, and you said that Tupac pulled out a...
It looked like he was reaching, yeah. Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you actually...
No, once he got the reaching, I got the ducking.
So, someone from your car
That's what happened.
started at Tupac and Suge.
Tupac started to become emotional in the courtroom because he already knew something was about to happen. Tupac was well aware that what was about to happen to him would make headlines quickly. And 50 Cent responded by saying that he didn't like Diddy because he had taken Tupac away.
When they leave me to talk, because I always say the wrong thing. I'm saying, last time they left me, I said something about Puffy. You saw that? You saw that clip? Yeah! I gotta stop doing that kind of shit. Okay, I've been talking to a therapist trying to help me with the shit I'm saying. I said crazy shit. No reason. Oh wait, maybe I said it to my boyfriend because he got Tupac killed.
This would be followed by instances in which Diddy was questioned about being in charge of Tupac. Like this uncomfortable interview with breakfast footage.
It was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because you, listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah, no, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah.
But in case you missed it, detectives think Diddy didn't act alone, which is much worse. According to the report, new updates are happening in Tupac Shakur's murder case. Rappers in the industry, including Snoop Dogg, Suge Knight, and Diddy, are about to be arrested and questioned. Starts with the feds questioning Snoop's participation after this interview.
You were with Tupac, though, in regards to Tupac. I heard a story, did you give him different advice that night on where to go?
I didn't give him no advice.
Right.
We wasn't seeing eye to eye.
Right.
So.
Saying during the Tyson.
Yeah, this incident that I'm explaining to you right now was the day before that.
Okay.
So when they got to Vegas, they went their way, I went back. I mean, when we got to LA, they went to Vegas and I went home. That's why I wasn't in the car with.
As Snoop explains, he was meant to be in the BMW, but due to unforeseen circumstances, he chose not to go. It's probably brought on by an argument that had occurred a few days before between Snoop, Tupac, and Suge.
Last time me and Tupac was on the same page, and I did an interview with Angie Martinez, and she asked me how did I feel about Puffy and Biggie, and I told her that I like their music and I want to do music with them. Bro didn't like that, Tupac didn't like that, so we had a misunderstanding. So on the flight back to LA, I didn't feel comfortable around them for what they had did, as far as I didn't let my security ride with me. So to protect myself and to, prevent from happening, I slept under a blanket with the knife and the fork just in case something was to go wrong. But
The cops are suspicious since all of this occurred within 72 hours after Tupac's murder 20 years ago. Dog Snoop was extensively wiretapped into the streets, leading some to speculate that Snoop could have gotten a tip that Tupac would be targeted that evening, preventing him from getting into the car. The feds then discovered another interview in which Snoop states that 2 days before Tupac's death, he thought Tupac loathed him.
a week before he died, we was best of friends. 2 days before he died, I don't think he liked me.
Why?
Because we was in New York, and it happened. New York, they shot at me and did all kind of shit to me, like just the worst you could think of. And I forgave him. And went and did an interview and was asked, how do I feel about Puffy and Biggie? And I was like, I like it. I want to do some music with him. And that just rubbed Cuz the wrong way, like tried to kill me, out at you, and you talking about you want to do a song with it. I wasn't thinking about his emotions. I was thinking about the way I felt at the time. I wasn't into no controversy. I liked his music. They was our friends. We was all friends at one point. This video footage of all of us hanging out.
But as Keffy D described how the physical evidence in the Diddy trial chilled the courtroom. Diddy's request resulted in Tupac's removal because on September 7th, 1996, Tupac and Suge Knight were in Vegas watching a Mike Tyson fight when they got into a fight with their operatives in the lobby.
Knight and their entourage went to the Mike Tyson, the MGM Grand. Keffy D and his nephew, Orlando Lane Anderson, and 2 of their friends were also there. Keffy D told LAPD Detective Greg Kading more than a decade ago, in a proffer that couldn't be used against him, the shooting was retaliation after Tupac jumped Orlando and beat him up at the casino. Surveillance cameras recorded the fight. Tupac was angry that Lane had stolen his necklace years prior in Compton. Tupac, Suge Knight, and the entourage left the casino quickly.
Tupac and Suge proceeded to their hotel to change for the night after security broke up the altercation. They were stopped in the middle of the road as they started to head to a club to celebrate.
About Tupac's concert at the Club 662. Members, including Orlando and Keith D, jumped in their white Cadillac and started cruising the strip looking for the offender. Before long, they finally spotted Tupac's caravan. At the intersection of East Flamingo Boulevard and Koval Lane, the white Cadillac pulled alongside the black BMW with Suge on the driver and Tupac on the passenger seats. The back window of the Cadillac rolled twice in the chest, once in the arm, once in the...
However, when the federal government searched for the culprit for 20 years, the police looked into a Keffy D interview in which he recounts pulling up on Tupac, incriminating him.
And Bubble Up was the driver, and Baby Lane and Freaky were in the back seat.
We was just all in the car together. Just say that.
This was the white Cadillac.
Yeah.
So you guys are driving around, and then you hear these girls say, Tupac, Tupac.
Got to the light. We was gonna go drink, and he happened to be hanging out the window. He was hanging out the window like he was in a parade.
Tupac.
Yeah, he was.
So what happens next? You said that as you're driving up towards the BMW, with Suge driving and Tupac in the passenger seat.
Additionally, a Keffy of the police interview from the night of the incident was released.
You say Suge looks over, he sees you?
Yeah.
He looks right at you?
Yeah, he looks at me.
Okay. When he looks over at you, and then, Tupac's busy getting evidently, the story is Tupac's trying to either get out of
in
the
the back seat or something.
Yeah, what do you see happening inside of their car?
I seen him going Suge head. I thought he was.
So Orlando across Dre?
He leaned over on the window. We rolled down the window.
The cops discovered Keffy D's response to Tupac's death during their inquiry.
I hate that happened, dog. I really do, man. Cause it took a lot of people's lives, dude. Hate that happen. Call it God. I feel that was wrong, man. It was just wrong, purely wrong. You know what I'm saying? I wish it had never happened. You know what I'm saying? That's my opinion on it. Wish it never happened, dude.
But this is where things become strange, since there are gaps in the narrative that lead many people to question whether Tupac is still alive as of recent. Tupac was an industry plant whose mission it was to halt the red and blue street teams, according to an officer's interview.
Well, it turns out when I talked to Tupac's longtime mentor, political mentor, former Black Panther Chokwe Lumumba, who was his first business manager, he's told me, I basically asked, well, was Tupac only pretending to be in order to appeal to gangs and politicize them? And he said yes. And that was part of his thug life agenda that he came up with his imprisoned stepfather, Tupac Shakur. And so Tupac was just using that in order to get the leaders to call peace truces, first in Los Angeles, then throughout California, and then throughout the country. And that was why he was pretending to be this type. And really, he was just an intellectual prodigy.
He went away unexpectedly since the plan didn't pan out. Yet it makes sense why Snoop Dogg didn't want to be close to Tupac in Las Vegas that night, because he would have wanted to keep his distance from him if he had learned that he was an industry plant. But a subsequent interview with one of Tupac's close friends revealed something bizarre, because rapper Trey was caught claiming that Tupac was in Cuba.
So if you ain't ready for it, get on the sidewalk.
One last question.
Nobody knows.
Y'all good? Yeah, we good. Thanks a lot, man. We good.
Then, 3 weeks later, a video of Tupac relaxing in a parking lot was made public. A lot in Cuba.
That's Pop, man. He with the outlaws. And Reg from Holla Back is trying to be friendly and get autographs. Holla Back exclusive, baby. Holla Back.
This gave rise to the Tupac is alive in Cuba hypothesis. But many people, including Suge Knight, now doubt that it's really a theory. Believes Tupac is still alive and well, as he has said several times over the years, saying, quote, when I left that hospital, me and Pac were laughing and joking, so I don't see how somebody can go from doing well to doing bad.
When I left that hospital, me and Pac was laughing and joking. So I don't see how somebody can turn from doing well to doing bad.
So you seriously think that he might still be alive?
I'm gonna tell you this, Pac, you never.
However, the one aspect of Shook's account that doesn't fit is that Tupac was allegedly in a coma at the time of the hospital. Suge Knight is certain that Tupac was alive, cognizant, and doing well, even in an interview from 2008. How could they? Had been smiling and making jokes if he was unconscious.
He was conscious on the way to the hospital.
He was conscious on the way to the hospital. He was conscious in the ambulance. He was conscious after they did the surgery.
What was the last thing that he said to you?
And the strangest part is that Suge nearly got taken out a few times after saying this about Tupac being alive. Several weeks later, a stranger repeatedly pointed a gun at him. Knight was careful to remain silent ever since, knowing that doing so would put him in danger. But Suge's son Shu Jr. would repeat the same error in 2018, shortly after declaring on Instagram that Tupac was still alive and residing in Malaysia. Sue Knight's son shared another image along with a comment that said, "You said too much time for you to go." However, Shu Jr. continued to post, making it appear as though someone was after him by including other images of Tupac with contemporary superstars like 50 Cent and Beyonce. He captioned the Beyonce photos saying, "He never left us, but they'll be after me soon." Squed Jr. would know more about this case than anybody else in the world, given that his father was there at the scene. According to some, while others think it was all a PR hoax meant to give Squed's son greater influence.